Welcome back to the State Farm Analyst Desk. FlyQuest, they surprised many this weekend by swapping out a few more pieces of their previously revamped roster, seeing Palafox and Jose Diodo return to the starting lineup, and that's where I want to start our discussion. This constant influx roster for FlyQuest, just as we were getting excited about the FlyQuest 2.0 squad. And while, yes, they had seemed to hit a bit of a wall from that early 4-0 streak of dominance, it still feels a little peculiar to me that in the final week of the split, you would choose to take a step back from what seemed to be a bit of a resurgence in what was working.
Yeah, and that's where I think, I know they're put in a really bad position, right? Mostly because I think regardless, they're going to be in a pretty tough spot. Even in the wins that they were having, there were a lot of comeback victories. One that strikes my mind was versus TSM, where TSM was in a strong position and they kind of just blundered the game away. So what you do want is what FlyQuest have is the fangs, right? They want to be proactive. And what we saw yesterday was a proactive team with Palafox and Jose Diodo. The only one thing that I didn't like with the changes is that I thought NXI was just a strong performer, even in their losses. So I would definitely try and keep NXI in that one.
I mean, Palafox, Jose back in, maybe with a fire. And while we do see them trying to generate things in the early game, FlyQuest early isn't great.
Yeah, and I liked a lot of what Raz said because I'm really curious in what Raz has to say, and I think he's really intelligent. But beyond that,
Thank you.
I think that FlyQuest has a lot of issues playing early game. They consistently fall behind. As he said, they generally have wins where they come from behind to win. And I feel like at this point of the season, look, we're not going to expect them to become a lane dominant team. I want to see them just draft so that they have an easier laning phase so that you're not in a situation where you're down 3,600 gold at 15 minutes into the game.
Even ignoring their play, the laning between the two different sets of mid laners and junglers, I feel like it's just got to change up the entire atmosphere of the team so much too.
Right. I
feel like when you've been playing on Academy for with the same five, you're building synergy, you know how each other are playing, then you're swapping in the different mid laner or different jungler at the end of it. I don't know. I feel like that just ruins the entire team environment. They brought you 4 wins. They brought you into playoff contention.
Yeah.
Let them finish it out, you weren't in playoff contention, now you are, then you boot them out of it. It's just so disingenuous to the players.
And it's mostly the lessons that you've learned as a team, because a lot of the takeaways that you have after scrims or after, just a general great week or something, you learn as a squad throughout the weeks that you've played in Academy, and of course when they were in the LCS time. Now you're changing those two players. And Palafox and Jose Diodo has been playing in Academy, so I think getting on the same page is another issue. So, to the point that you've been making, being on the same page, we didn't see that yesterday. We do need to see them at least steal a game here. Because if they do take this win, then they're in a strong position versus Golden Guardians in the standings.
At the end of the day, nothing is done without a reason, good or bad. And so FlyQuest has a reason for putting these two back in the lineup, and we'll see if it can breed success for them here today. They'll have to do it against an Immortals squad that looks fairly solid. Again, much better when it comes to already in the playoff picture. Their bot lane is kind of where I want to put our focus.
Yeah, so I think it was yesterday that Mark described them as being either an 8 or a 2. Right, and last time it was a 2, and it was a really bad look for them.
Yeah,
they had a matchup where you want to be playing the kill lane when you're the ones playing Draven, and instead they were just playing the lane that's getting killed a lot. So I think this was an uncharacteristic performance from IMT's bot lane. I don't expect them to get stomped like they did here, and granted you're playing against Core JJ's Thresh, so I expect that there's going to be situations where you just get outskilled. But generally, when we look at last week, IMT's bot lane was a huge force for the team. And I think we need to get somewhere between an 8 and a 2 that's closer to the 8 and less so the 2. But I think
so maybe a 7.
Maybe a 7. Even a 6 I think would be fine because I think the actual fulcrum for the team tends to be Xerxes, right? And I think so long as Xerxes is in a situation where he has stable lanes versus a team that has a pretty weak laning phase like FlyQuest, they're going to be fine.
I think my personal problem with the game yesterday is just the fact that they blind picked Draven, if I'm not mistaken. And I feel like Draven has a time and a place. That is not every game. Playing with previous Draven players, there's good situations for him where he can just dominate lane and hard carry and snowball. But if you just blind pick him every single game just because you like him or you're good at him, you're going to get punished for it against good players that pick a good lane matchup into it. So I would just like him to calm down a bit and just pick it when it makes sense, just not all the time.
And, especially after today, I take a step back and I'm looking at IMT and I'm saying they're still on a pretty damn good trajectory. Because they had a pretty big L going up against Tactical and Core JJ, and I think Team Liquid are getting that resurgence, especially with Santorin in lineup, right? So I do think that they had a strong finish last week. This week, this is going to be that good showing of what they look like right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to note the caliber of opponent for Immortals is a little different than it was yesterday in terms of the record overall. So what they're working against. I do have some curiosities.
Different calibers.
Yeah, I do have some curiosities, though, around what you're talking about, Hai, is going into this champion select, will they index back into the Draven, and will they do so early on? In fact, they won't have the opportunity because it's FlyQuest who says, we won't give it to you.
Ooh, actually, this is kind of interesting that they forewent the Viego. Most teams, when they're put in this position of the Viego flex likely going into the jungle versus a Diana, you'd go Viego because it's the better scrapper versus Diana that's available. So it feels like they're a lot more comfortable picking Diana for themselves.
Yeah.
Easy pick up here from Immortals.
And I would prefer they just keep the Diana. I like this from FlyQuest, given how weak their early game has been. This allows them to pick up a Lucian, which gives them stronger mid priority. And that's, I think, relatively important when we consider that they've consistently been falling behind in all of their lanes. So overall, I think Diana makes a lot more sense just because of what she unlocked for the rest of the team.
I like the Kalista pick here for IMT if they do go with that. It kind of goes in line with the lane building of Draven. However, I would prefer if Raze just picks like the hyper carries, like stronger laning, not necessarily stronger laning, sorry, more like scaling champions. I feel like when he plays those champions that scale well, he does really well on it. And Kalista doesn't scale the best.
I would say at least that it does empower Destiny here, that it looks great on hooking champions. So like the Nautilus, the Thresh is banned, but even like the Ballista is something, because the fact that, you know, he's a pretty damn good Blitzcrank player, Destiny that is, and I would expect him to pick it on 3. So
Ashe.
There it is.
One of my favorite champions, so I'm always happy to see that locked in.
Is that because she's simple to play?
Yeah, you got it. You nailed it.
Ashe, Vive, all pretty simple to play.
When you know the Ashe build that I play, it's just the Imperial Mandate build.
Oh, the ARAM build.
Yeah, 2-second cooldown. You go Ashe Senna bot lane.
Old man dash.
Ashe Senna bot lane, man. You just farm as the Ashe there. So you have a very strong Senna, and then you have an Ashe that can slow you every 2 seconds with a W. Lots of poke, lots of control. You'll never see it in the LCS, but that's all right.
Yeah, and you know what? Just like looking at FlyQuest's perspective about control, Ashe kind of gives them that. You know, not having CC and the rest really works well, just because of the fact that if you have Ashe Arrow, then, you know, it's a lot of great setup. And also, it's a great way to play into the Kalista. Kalista does not want to go cleanse, so you can literally just go support counter pick. Oh, actually, they're going to be picking Volibear here. But anyways, I'll still expect Immortals to go support on 4, and then you can get a support counter pick and just play towards bot lane. So this is probably one of the rare games where I'd say I would love for FlyQuest to go to play to bot side.
Yeah, and I think this is this kind of draft for FlyQuest makes it really, really difficult for Immortals to play any kind of a mobile carry mid lane as well. You know, you can just fire an Ashe arrow down mid lane, and it really disrupts whatever they're playing.
The Kobe from downtown.
Yeah, the Kobe,
oh,
or
I
Curry,
hate when I get hit by
whatever
that,
you want to call it. And you know, in a meta where we're now seeing more of these control mages, like the Ori, like the Syndra, who is banned this game, it puts a fear of the Ashe arrow in them. So I personally like the options that it gives them. And frankly, I think when you're just the weaker team, you need the opportunity to make these unexpected plays in order to even things out.
I actually don't like support 4-pick here on IMT. I think Ashe beats Kalista on lane due to 1, outranging her, and 2, slowing her down really heavily. If you pick support here on 4th pick for Immortals, that allows FlyQuest to counterpick you here. And then if your bot lane gets crushed, it's going to be really difficult for Kalista to be useful. Because if she falls behind early game, especially against Ashe, she never becomes useful. Like, she'll never be at a point in the stage where she can just run at Ashe and take that fight. So I think they actually have to save their support for 5-pick and blind pick mid-top here.
So I would say that is ideal, what you're saying. I think right now, if FlyQuest goes for something like a Braum pickup, Immortals are always going to be in a tough position because they're looking for a melee tank engager with a Kalista.
Immortals disagrees with you, Hai.
Well, let's see who wins bot lane. If the Braum comes through, I think they win bot lane.
Yeah, this is my point. FlyQuest is always going to be in a position here, just even if the support pick isn't there for Immortals on 4, they can just go Braum. Because you're not going to be seeing something like, let's say, the old Immortals when they were successful with Huni and all that, with the Kalista and Soraka. You're not seeing Enchanter support, so it has lesser value being picked on 5. With
that Braum got swapped to a Yone?
Whoa, that's a Palafox coming in there. Blind pick Yone.
Yeah.
Seems like they're just saying, this is who we are as a team, and this is who I am as a player for Palafox, so they're just going to be throwing resources mid lane to keep
I take it back. I like them. The Yone mid, I'm in. Keep Palafox in.
Okay, all right.
I'm happy.
Yeah. And overall, I think FlyQuest is doing well. I'm not sure about the Yone. I personally would have preferred to see Illusion, but overall I like that.
Illusion's banned, so.
Oh, Illusion got
Yeah.
banned. That's probably why they went for Yone. So I like that they're just going for an aggressive comp with a really strong laning phase. You have the Ashe into the Callista. You know, you have options like you have Renekton into whatever gets picked top. You're gonna have a generally decent matchup, and this should help shore up the issues that they've had early game consistently.
Yo-ho, I'm calling it right now. FlyQuest smashes IMT. They have triple winning lane.
Triple winning lane.
Bot lane's looking good. Top lane is
Questionable, yes.
Yes, the top lane is the questionable
But
one.
I saw Impact solo kill Volibear, level 3 mid lane, teleport top, solo kill the other laner.
The
I
name
believe
That's true, he did
Kumo
that.
can also
Kumo's the
solo.
same player.
I think Revenge was the one that got solo killed, right? Actually, it was a Kumo.
No, it was Fake God.
It was Fake God?
It was Fake
Yeah, it was
Damn
Fake
it.
God. That
What?
one, the name
different
tag
player.
matters in that one.
You know, Kumo can do it too. I believe in him, so I like FlyQuest's team comp.
I like FlyQuest team comp a lot more. I think it shores up the issues that they've had. I think it gives them multiple engage options. I like that we're seeing the Rel now a little bit more. We haven't been seeing that much, even though her cooldown on her W got buffed. So I think this is a good FlyQuest draft.
So both of these two seem to be in the FlyQuest camp when it comes to the draft. Raz, final word from
For
you.
the draft, I'd say FlyQuest, but in terms of just who I think is going to win this game, I'd give it to Immortals.
And where is it going to come from then? Who's the difference maker in the face of a better draft? Where does the win come from?
I'm looking at the jungle. Xerxes is going to be the difference maker here.
All right, all eyes on the jungle then as we load onto the Rift for FlyQuest versus Immortals. Game 4 of the day, and we've got Pastry Time and Azael on the call.
Thank you very much, Josh. Boy, oh boy, the LCS is getting interesting here as we're only a few games now away from playoffs as well. So very excited to see how things shake out. Hello, by the way, we are here. We do exist. We are physically sitting at the caster desk for
This could
FlyQuest
be a
versus
tape
IMT.
from another day.
Don't
You
believe
really
the
don't
strat.
know.
Now what do you think? How could all be possible?
There's no way it could all be a lie.
You've just like completely ruined the thought patterns of everyone watching. They've never thought that, and now that is all they will think.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess you never know. Well, FlyQuest here. Important game, right? You know, they do not have the tiebreaker against Golden Guardians, so they need to get wins. You know, they are tied right now. They're both 13 wins in the standings. They have Immortals today. They have CLG tomorrow. So both winnable games. You know, and if you can get that 2-0, you can still make playoffs. And FlyQuest did have a really nice resurgence, you know, when they first swapped to their academy roster. So they are hoping that that will be enough to actually get them through to playoffs. Of course, playing, you know, a lot of their previous LCS players here now.
All right, little late invade.
Ooh, they're gonna go for blue. They're gonna start the blue level 1, I think, or is this? Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be. No way they're not going mid lane.
Well,
No,
I was like, are they going to the Wolves? Like, is this like a level 1 Wolves? That would be bizarre, but this is going to be likely a cross-map situation. I want to see how much Jose Diodo does, because you don't really know if Viego is going to cross-map himself or if he's going to come over and try to defend his side. Often in these situations when you go full-on cross-map, the jungler who actually commits more to the counter jungling comes out ahead. You know, if you can take all 3 camps from that side of the map, it does end up being quite beneficial. But of course, there is risk to that, especially if your opponents do have pushing lanes, that they collapse on you. So it's going to be up to Tomo and Diamond here to try to really shove heavily, to Palafoxes try to shove heavily, so that even if Xerxes comes over to the side of the map, he can't really do anything about it.
All right, well, definitely eyes on mid lane here. Going to be a fun one here.
Okay, never mind. I thought he was going to go for a cheesy level 2 top, but they have an idea that this is going on. So he is just going to go cross map, and it will just be Kumo kind of playing this defensive style. And we'll see FlyQuest trying to play around what, you know, the AD believes is a pretty heavily winning bot lane. And I tend to agree. Ashe is really, really strong as the laner goes.
Now, Xerxes are going to get this blue. As you mentioned, in these situations, greed often good, which is not always the case in League of Legends, but you want to take what you can, because if you leave something behind and the enemy jungler didn't, then you, of course, are just going to naturally be behind. So Xerxes is going to finish off this Grump as well.
Yeah, and we'll see if he goes Wolves, because we did see Jose Diodo actually took all 3 camps from that side of the map. And he's just going to go into a 6-camp clear. Whether or not he actually comes up to try to defend his own Wolves seems unlikely. I think it's just going to be a trade of scuttles. It's going to be 6 camps for both junglers here, and then a reset. You know, very calm early game. I'm going to be really interested to see how this Akali actually performs as well, because, I mean, Insanity had counterpick. It was a blind Yone. Akali is not something I think of as like a lane counter whatsoever. If you feel that you can be really successful into the composition, that can be fine. If you think compositionally you're going to have a successful time, team fighting and kind of diving backline against the low mobility carry such as Ashe, then hey, I buy that. You can try to play that sort of a style. But it can be difficult at times, I think, to actually fight past someone like the Rel, who has the ability with the Magnustorm, a lot of AoE CC to try and sometimes lock you up or pull you out of your shroud, and we'll have to see how Insanity plays around that.
Yeah, Dana as well. I mean, in general, lots of dive in the top side of either of these comps. That kind of happens when it's double melee mid lane, because it's almost always melee jungle and or top lane. Revenge trying to do some work there in his counter matchup as Insanity flies in. Palafox, excuse me. Gonna take some damage, but not too much. Bottom side though, Diamond lining it up. Ray's in trouble. Oh, he predicts it! Pyromancy in, that is first blood for Jose Diodo.
That was so well done by Diamond. The flash prediction going behind Ray's there. And with Jose Diodo coming in, I mean, maybe he could have tried to flash to the side, but that was beautifully done by FlyQuest. They're gonna get the full reset. No chance that Destiny can keep this off the tower. Xerxes will be here to collect some of the farm, but that is big. First blood on the Kalista with a crashing wave means he's going to be way behind. We can watch this one more time. Hawkshot has set it up, so they already know Xerxes is not here. So that is why you see that kind of direct straight to the north. And that is just really well done. Yeah, I actually don't think he could have flashed anywhere. If you flash straight to the right, I think you still die to Diana coming in. Because he was hugging to the wall, there's just not actually enough terrain to really work with there. So just beautiful read by Diamond and a really nice flash prediction. Gets FlyQuest first blood.
Yeah, super cute little juke back into the brush as well. Then insta flashes back in unmounted. Really tough there. I also think the kill probably went to the best place it could. You don't want all your kills to be funneled into the jungle unless, I guess, like Master Yi is your jungler somehow. But Diana definitely benefits from getting a little bit of early gold to snowball her early game, and Jose Diodo will be very happy with that bonus money.
I mean, Diana plays so well from ahead. It's just one of those champions that, especially when you hit 6, if you actually are ahead of the curve of the game, if you get that early mythic coming through, you have the ability to threaten 100-0 onto some of the backliners, which just makes teamfighting incredibly difficult. So not going to be too sad whatsoever about where that went. Tomo got a better early base here. He goes for the Berserker Graves early. He did start Longsword for the additional potions. He's playing Biscuits as well, so wants to stay healthy in lane here and basically just go for the non-stop push. And we're seeing that kind of across the board here from FlyQuest. Palafox really hard shoved in the early levels, took that early recall, grabbed boots and a dagger. That's why you see Insanity still has been kind of stuck in lane on this Dark Seal. And as a result, you kind of do expect him to drop some of this farm and fall a little bit behind.
Yeah, 10 down right now. Looks like that he's taking a recall though. So probably going to have to use the TP. That will probably force the trade. We'll see what happens though. Top side, Revenge. Get that wave in a pretty nice spot. Kumo may struggle to find that again as Palafox.
I like that. That was really clever. Just Eing out, because if you actually fully back off and recall as he TPs back in, then he can freeze the wave. So just standing back, doing a max range kind of ease, you can jump forward, kill that one minion off, and then snap back to base is small thing, but yeah, pretty nice.
I mean, everyone always talks about like top lane, right, as like the wave management lane, which is true. Ray's in trouble briefly. Xerxes though, here on the top of the screen, just barely out of range of the camera as Destiny going to walk on over to him. Ray's doesn't have flash or glance from the last time this happened. Jose's also down there with level 6, but top lane is where we'll currently put that attention to, as Dragon is being started by Immortals. 4 people around the area right now. But Palafox can get here pretty quickly. Diamond lining it up, not ready with the ulti. But Palafox can join in. Destiny going to be the first target. Insanity diving through. Diamond trying to make it happen. A big snap down with a stun. Massive follow through. Jose Diodo. Pop of the moonfall. Yone flies in. Insanity will get one back. But that's 2 for 1 in favor of FlyQuest.
2 for 1. They grab the Dragon as well. That is so big for FlyQuest. The early investment in these pushing lanes is paying off on the bottom side. Hard shoving in mid. Hard shoving in bot. Setting up the cross-map situation. Jose Diodo, the big benefactor here, has those 2 early kills, and FlyQuest looking like they are in a great spot in these first 7 minutes.
Yeah, about 2,500 gold almost up. No math is hard, 1,500. We'll take it back, but still pretty good for the early game here, especially with that early Infernal. Going to be Ocean up next. So we'll flip a coin between the Earth and the Cloud Drake in a moment, but again, we'll watch this engage. As FlyQuest know exactly what's happening here.
Yep, absolutely. They come over, and it is the stun across multiple members here from Diamond, stunning up all three, as Xerxes did ult back into position, unfortunately for him. Palafox arrived, long-range engage available there by the Yone. He E, flash, ult. You can cover an entire screen of distance with that sort of a play, and FlyQuest played out very well. I'm going to be interested to see what sort of a mythic Palafox does go for. Shield Bow is by far the most common, but you do see Gale Force sometimes just for that additional playmaking. E both for the execute and also sometimes just set up those long-range Q3s or even ultimate plays after your E can be quite effective.
Yeah, much like his brother, you know, all about mobility on the Yone side, but unlike Yasuo, he can make a lot of maybe individual plays, maybe dueling people. Yone is much more about, I have a big ultimate, let me find a team fight, which I think is why it's such a successful champion for Palafox, is whether it's this iteration or the old iteration of FlyQuest, he just mostly needed a go button to press with the rest of his top side.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they have so many go buttons, right? You have Ash Arrow, you have Pharrell, you have the ability for Palafox to fly and for Jose Diodo to fly in. So this is very much a go style of comp. And we'll have to see how they can execute on that, if they can continue pushing the pace of the game here. Again, just using that E for safety. He wants to push aggressively for the plate. Doesn't want to risk dying while doing it. The E is not an escape. You can't use it. You know, you have to use it preemptively for it to be an escape. If you press that when the jungler shows up, turns out you just look like an idiot and then you die. So it doesn't really do much good for you. But looking good thus far. Already got the Noon Quiver. Already has the tier 2 boots. And things are looking nice for FlyQuest.
Yeah, I remember the first time I played Yone, I was like, oh, it'll be just like playing Yasuo. It's nothing like playing Yasuo. They're like, might feel similar, might have, you know, a lore relationship, but champions, apart from dying a lot, don't do the same thing.
See, I see Yone as like the easy Yasuo. You know,
That's true.
It's like this champion that I don't touch Yasuo because I'm not going to put in the games to actually get good at it. And I don't really feel like being the guy that's 0-10 every game. So I'm just like, Yone's for me.
Both fun, but yeah, definitely get yourself in some funny situations if you press your buttons thinking they do similar things when they don't. Also, queuing into your opponents happens a lot when you're letting Yone raise down the bottom lane here. Is trying to get some plates happening. They are trading right now. It is Tomo currently ahead in that race, but Raze does get some gold back, and it is much needed with the 2 deaths already collected as Tomo almost getting the full 5 here. Going to make it 4 here in the top side, and doesn't show any signs of slowing down.
Yeah, I mean, they're giving up a lot on that top side. They still have the Herald available here, so only 1 plate up on the top side. I mean, if they can kill this without even having to use the Herald, like that is really rare that you actually see a team get Herald and then not use it for first tower, and it looks like that could very well be the case. If they can finish this off, then they can actually use the Herald for mid and potentially threaten a second turret there, so things looking really good for FlyQuest. Plus, you actually take a look at the gold lead here for Tomo. That's going to get much bigger as that tower goes down, up to about 1,000 gold at that point. It's all the solo experience, the solo gold into his pocket, and Kumo, gotta be careful.
Yeah, it's actually, I think, probably trying to soak XP there, but does take some damage. Tomo now going to get jumped on, but the cleanse out from Revenge is good, and Tomo's going to walk away safely.
Nice trade still for Revenge, ulti for ulti, but you get the cleanse on top, so you're going to be feeling pretty good about that. Reading the fact that Diamond wasn't there anymore to protect him, and Tomo a little bit of an overstay. He wanted to kill the tower, he wanted to have his cake and eat it too, push out the wave afterwards, which does end up costing him, but Jose Diodo here and Diamond will be spotted as the sweeper comes through. The TV's already there.
in Kumo! Oh, we got pulled back. The stun actually didn't really latch, but still it's enough. The chain CC is there, and Raze will take down Renekton.
Nicely done. Not even able to get his ulti off there, just gets absolutely blasted. And Xerxes now trying to push forward here. I wonder if Kumo did intentionally hold the ult. If he just made the read that he's dead, then maybe, you know, just having it up actually for the dragon fight that is coming in will be more beneficial, because some of these ultis over on the Immortal side may not actually be available, and Revenge very likely gonna have to flash. We'll see if they can force it, but he has no ulti, so...
Oh, the slow's still coming in. Now he's gonna have to flash. Tomo forward flashes and gets him the kill.
Yeah, nicely done by Tomo, but Revenge is not respecting the Ash slows. Like, you're killing him very slowly, but you are getting slowed down constantly. You can't actually escape. If you early flash there and then just E behind you, there's no shot that he continues. Instead, he gets greedy, he dies for it. Now the Herald will charge mid here. The tower will not go down, but it will get low. It's a TP in from Insanity.
Tomo gonna be the target, but again, Diamond gonna block. Great E angle though, Insanity able to take one down, and now Diamond gonna have to walk away. Level 6 to level 10 doesn't feel all that fair, and Jose Diodo also gonna get caught in transition. 3v1's an easy shutdown for Raze as Diamond has somehow escaped for now. With the rest of the squad is here, he's gonna have to flash, does get out of there, stun charging up, barely gonna miss over the wall, and Diamond, of all players, is the one to get out.
Yeah, he gets out, but they lose multiple members. The wheels falling off there a bit for FlyQuest as this is a little bit sloppy. I mean, they have the death on the bottom side. They're late on the reset, not actually grouped up, setting up for Dragon. They had the first early Dragon. They have the lead. This Dragon should be theirs. And this is often where FlyQuest does actually struggle, is in checking these kind of moments and following through and how to extend your lead. You know, they often are able to create leads for themselves. They can have good individual moments, but their team play, their setups are largely very weak, and Immortals does punish them here for it. Getting a couple kills here for Insanity in the Honda performance play. The Shuriken flip here was the really big deal. Tomo kind of overpushed on top side and did have his cleanse force. Then back here on the bottom side, the E behind Diamond flying over the top gets him the kill. And you always got to be nervous when Akali is getting fed. Then Jose Diodo in transition. He gets taken down, and that is a shutdown onto Kalista, which is really going to help to get Raze back in the game. He all of a sudden has his mythic completed now as well. So Immortals, in with a chance here, are still down a bit over 2,000 gold, but at least they stopped the Soul Snowball. You know, was this bottom side focus for FlyQuest they were looking for?
And of course, would have been an easy objective to play off of, so some of that is slowed. I was actually going to mention, like before that happened, Jose, you mentioned the quick mythic when Diana gets gold, had the Rocket Belt, was the first mythic in the game, was up 2-0-1, ready to take over kind of in this mid-game. And unfortunately, that death, FlyQuest just getting a little shaky back towards the bottom side of the map, so we'll see if they can right the ship. Mid lane still for theirs to finish off. Actually, the tower's dead. That's a good use of the Herald we saw deployed kind of before everything happened. So that gold lead will stay up, but definitely IMT going to be filled with a bit more confidence to continue to make plays as Kumo is isolated in a 1v3. Revenge is trying to bait him in, and Kumo this time I think sniffed it out.
Yeah, I mean, Kumo moving forward there, I honestly think Immortals had the read that there's no shot this guy's moving forward without a team behind him. Right? And Kumo had no one behind him. So, like, they could have probably killed him there, but they didn't know it. And Kumo was playing so aggressively that they're just like, all right, well, definitely Jose Diodo's behind him for sure. So they do back it up. And it is FlyQuest reconvening here around mid lane. They have Palafox down in that bottom lane, still deathless on the Yone, very far ahead, and Raze in trouble.
That is quite the initiation alongside the route with the Diana, but Raze does get away.
Yeah, quietly, Palafox getting very far ahead. I mean, Insanity did pick up another kill, but during all of that, Palafox had been pushing. You know, he's up a good 40 CS or so. FlyQuest now looking for the second Herald, but Immortals posturing like they want to fight. We'll see if Insanity can actually get up there in time because he doesn't have his teleport, so they are going to decide, I think, to just give it up.
IMT posturing to maybe try and contest for this hit. But the Herald's gonna die, so that one's dead. What happens after it? Ulti hits one. Oh my god, it actually got stolen. Volibear, how'd you even grab that FlyQuest? So they're gonna take the team fight instead. Raze gets one, but it's a double out there for Kumo. As the fight will continue. Insanity trying to dance around and pick up one more, but I don't think he's gonna be successful. Just barely missing the mark on Tomo, as that's an ace out of FlyQuest.
The Bud Light ace out of nowhere. FlyQuest wiping up Immortals. And IMT trying to go into that fight. Insanity didn't have teleport. He was always going to be late to the play. And FlyQuest has very good hard engage. And it just wasn't respected here by Immortals, who walk up, and we can see it in the replay. And you have to look at the minimap. How far away is Insanity as they're actually walking up? He's not even in towards mid lane yet. They do get the Herald, which actually saves it from being a total disaster. I guess Jose Diodo actually didn't have his smite there, so it's stolen by the E. But here's the problem. The fight is lost by the time the Akali comes, and it's such a disaster. I think Insanity just makes the call that it's like, okay, I got to get something. So he goes in too, and it's just the conga line of Insanity following up all the previously dying members. It's 5 for 1. And that can be game deciding there, and it's just not a play that Immortals ever should have been looking for in the first place.
You know what they say about lost of the fight, Azale? Lost dead. Insanity, the one to complete the ace. Definitely one they could have maybe take back as Insanity bursting down Palafox with that shield bow still ready to go. And there is more than one FlyQuest member down here in the bottom side of the map. Diamond lining it up, has the ulti ready with the flash as well. Insanity's got no help coming quickly. Flipping back, now going to try and make it happen, but that's just such an easy CC chain, and Jose Diodo going to be the ones to collect the bonus gold.
Nicely done there by FlyQuest. They find the roam. Insanity does the only thing he can, which is really just try to run towards the low HP Palafox, but very unlikely that he would ever be able to kill him off there. And Diamond on a mission. He has been playing well this game, moving around, has been on point with the rel engages here. FlyQuest running over Immortals. 3-0-3 in the mid lane. The whole top side of the map is just absolutely fed at this point for FlyQuest, and they are monstrously up in gold with a hard engage comp, which is going to give you some very easy win conditions. Again, we're seeing Palafox actually make use of that E to just get more tower damage down, do the long range E over the wall. You can snap back to relative safety, and there's almost no chance you get killed when you're looking for those types of plays unless you're like so deep that someone is already behind you.
He's like definitely been in the practice tool with this champion. It was like he explored every possible angle to siege up these towers. You love to see it. It's the little things that definitely add up for a champion like Yone. Second dragon now for FlyQuest. Would be much happier if it was their third, as was originally planned, but they'll certainly take it here. And again, that gold lead that's been about, 2,000 to 3,000 is now ballooned up to 5.5. Flash ulti there finds Tomo, no cleanse. Ulti's up, but that's going to be a 3v1 kill. The shield bow is not going to be enough to prevent Raze from claiming his life.
Nicely done there, Destiny with the pick. Destiny has been really good lately for Immortals. Even in the loss yesterday, people were critical of the Draven pick, critical of how things actually worked out, but he was hitting so many hooks on Blitzcrank. It was just the problem was they were so far behind that the hooks didn't really matter, and that is one of the worst feelings as a support player. He's going in.
He's very deep in there, but Ray's not going to be killed in the team. Maybe I'm wrong. That is enough. Palafox finds the 1v1.
Yeah, he's going to get in on top of him. When you are ahead on Yone, marksman players beware. He had the shield bow. He even used his flash defensively there. I think he just didn't realize that once the ult missed for Palafox, he could still die. I think Raze felt comfortable as soon as the ulti doesn't hit, but he's basically just using this as a gap closer. The amount of damage you have at this point of the game, especially if you do land some of these crits, is enormous. And we can see it, gap closer there with the ulti into the Q3. That lands, all the autos land, the W lands, and the E snapback here is just so much damage. As you get later in the game, post level 13, when you have that E maxed, the snapback damage is very, very significant. It's 35% of the damage you have dealt at max rank, so it's like a mini death mark almost, and you have got to be afraid anytime they're getting low.
That was sick out of Palafox there. Love to see the style there as Raze is felled once again. My mental image, by the way, as he's diving in, like he lost so long, in my head he's just got a calculator, punching numbers in. Yeah, adds up, Raze is dead sick. As FlyQuest will find themselves another kill, extend that gold lead, and now look to position themselves around the top of the map. Maybe Baron on the menu here, as Insanity once again is committed to the side lane because that's really all he can do right now.
And if you weren't scared before,
I'm scared already.
When the IE gets completed, that is terrifying. And Raze is actually, itemizing for the Wit's End here, which is going to help him against Jose Diodo, but I actually think Palafox is much more the problem right now. This is a level 14 Yone. He's 2 levels ahead of Insanity, who was the highest level on his team. We just saw Revenge tick over to 12, but the Yone is an issue, and Wit's End is going to do nothing for you against him. That said, if it is just that Diana reaching backline, it will be helpful, but there's a lot of physical damage here, so not convinced by that purchase from Raze.
Also not convinced that Revenge can survive, even though he is pretty tanky. Palafox had a ward there, so Revenge is definitely getting hunted somewhat. Not too safe here in the side lane. It's going to be a 3v2 right now for FlyQuest. Make it 4. Jose Diodo attached at the hip to Tomo and Diamond. Raze, though, roaming around. The rest of IMT out here. Call it a 4v5. Palafox, can he Houdini his way out of there? Diamond finds a Magna Storm on it too, but Tomo is around the side as Diamond is felt. Jose, though, still fighting it out. Palafox finds on the edge with the ulti and now snaps back towards Raze. Flashing insta onto the Callista. Shield bow is going to pop, but Palafox going to try and make it happen. The Q's going to dodge a bit more damage, but it is not enough as Revenge will be the one to find the shutdown. Now Kumo files into the front side, but it's 4v1 right now as Jose Diodo is going to pick off Raze with the autos, but IMT 1v3. Kumo with a massive gore drinker, maybe going to keep himself alive as Jose Diodo is a big threat, and IMT will have to back away. Now to FlyQuest re-engage. They're thinking about it. Jose Diodo lining it up. Flashing in. Kumo finds the stun. There's going to be the next kill. Is it another ace? It looks like it on my screen. IMT going to lose their fourth. The Xerxes, the only one left alive for his squad. As that flash Q barely going to miss.
Not quite able to get the ace, but pings onto the Baron. Those were late deaths for Immortals solo laners, which makes it so much worse. They've got 30 seconds here basically to finish this off. Palafox will TP back in. Ashe has already arrived. FlyQuest gonna claim this Baron here. No shot that Xerxes can get even over here to contest it. And I think they even have time to actually reset and grab Soul Point here potentially. Kumo heading to top side, but you definitely want to base right now, try to get down towards this dragon and just continue extending the advantage.
Ooh, I love this play from IMT, getting aggressive. Tomo the target, but he's got to meet out of turret still to walk back to. Tomo going to walk out to safety Diamond also doing what he can. Tomo, shield blow's going to pop. He lives for quite a while, but not long enough as Diamond will get assassinated. IMT finding 2 quick picks.
Oh, Immortals. Their soul leaders respawn too late for the Baron, but not late enough for Tomo to survive, pushing out mid lane there. The immediate teleport coming out of base here. I like that Destiny was actually set up in that side brush with his team, knowing what FlyQuest would try to do, knowing that they would reset. And Tomo just too far forward, as he honestly has been a lot this game. He has been getting picked on, been getting found out, overextending in top lane early, then in mid lane multiple times, getting picked off in bottom lane on an overextension. And he has got to play with respect to the teleports from the Immortal soul laners, because that death there gives away the dragon. And again, you know, this could be their soul at this point, had they played it a little bit more cleanly, but a couple deaths there from Tomo have really cost them big time in that snowball. They are still massively ahead. They are still in control, but you want that cleanliness from a team who's playing from this far ahead. We can watch it one more time. It's honestly a great read here. You can see on the minimap, you know, just wrapping around the vision all the way into this side brush. They're waiting for the respawns, and as soon as they come in, it's double TP from the top side as they hard engage from the bot side. Tomo has to flash early, but the follow-up is there. Revenge turns off the tower. Xerxes had landed the stun previously, and they have so much chase down, plus the fact that the other 3 FlyQuest members who were on the reset, Tomo just needed to play safer.
Yep, and I think part of me wonders, like, is that adjusting to maybe your team playing a bit differently, right? Because I feel like the old FlyQuest was definitely, you know, a unit, right? They always made seemingly every single play together, where this game is much more about the side lane pressure that Palafox has, Kumo catching the safe wave most likely, and, you know, FlyQuest kind of getting their map control and then falling back to the objective instead of just straight up brawling 5v5 every opportunity you have. So definitely agree, like those are not mistakes Tomo should be making, especially given that FlyQuest are looking to clean things up and make that shot for playoffs, but not too much damage done. This Red Bull Baron power play pretty good still. Yeah,
I mean, the game is just not going to be about Tomo, right?
Yeah.
You're 1-4 Ashe. Oh no. Well, turns out you got an 8-1 Diana. You got a 4-1 Yone here. Palafox level 16 now, so ridiculously fed. If he lands a full combo on legit anyone except maybe Volley, they are going to die. So it's a pretty frightening world here for Immortals when you're facing up against this team that is going to be pushing in on all sides, has incredible hard engage, has strong tower dive. You've got to be very, very careful, and Immortals are going to be relying on finding picks, on finding odd number fights, but right now, it's just kind of the bounce back and forth. You can see they have tried to take over, you know, this area of the jungle. They got to clean out some of these wards behind them to make sure that these TP plays are not available. You know, this ward in particular, they didn't actually check the brush, so TP flanks would be possible if TP is up, which it is not right now. But they're kind of just trying to bounce back and forth between mid and bot, clean up the last of those outer towers, which they have now done, and we'll see if they want to try to continue extending the advantage here, if they're just going to wait for the next dragon.
Well, it should be pretty easy to figure out the lane assignments on the FlyQuest side, because Palafox just finished a Wit's End, so he's going to go wherever the Akali is. If Insanity's lane wasn't challenging before, it is now basically impossible, at least for now, to commit to any sort of 1v1.
Yeah. I mean, you're a full item down, and he has MR, plus there's the difference in XP, which is honestly really, really big. Like, it's near 4,000 gold in the advantage of Palafox, which is pretty ridiculous. He has an expensive item build. He's up multiple levels, which is also worth, you know, hundreds and hundreds of gold, if not an extra 1,000 gold or so, you know, just with the spell rank ups plus the additional base stats that you do get. So Palafox pretty much uncontested at this point in the game. But when you are playing those side lanes, there's always the risk of being picked off, and that is where Immortals may be able to find some windows. But without that, you're down nearly 10,000 gold, and it's going to be incredibly difficult to contest in a 5v5.
Yeah, only one tower taken as well, so not a lot of space for IMT to work with. It is a minute and 10 or so until the Dragon is up. It is a minute 20 until the Baron is up, so not long between those objectives, but FlyQuest should own either of them, depending on which one they want to fall back to first.
And we'll see. Palafox hunting here.
Xerxes tagged. Damage is there. That looks very, very bad. It is just Palafox styling all over IMT once again.
Nicely done. No stopwatch there on Xerxes. As soon as you see that, he knows he can commit for it. There's no ability to immune the snapback damage, and he didn't even need it. He killed him before the snapback, so really he overkilled him by about 35% there. Really nicely done by Palafox. Getting that pick means you are going to get this next dragon likely for free.
All right, well, Raisin Destiny have maybe found one here on Takumo, but he's going to dominate us out, and this will be very costly for IMT. Even if they do get the kill, which Kumo is going to finally die. Nice arrow, though, from Tomo to make it last a little bit longer as the top lane here has been broken, and mid is about to fall as well.
Oh, the long-range arrow there for Tomo. Nicely done, but not enough to stop Raze chasing him down. Does cost Raze both his summoners, but a nice pick for them, and because, again, it is a late death, and Xerxes is respawning, so, you know, I was more thinking FlyQuest would be able to actually set up at one of these objectives, and while Xerxes is coming out on the map, they would be taking it, but it is yet again that Immortals are getting a pick around Dragon spawn time. Revenge, though, fake checking.
Oh no! Revenge ulti in place! FlyQuest still going to keep on fighting. Insanity diving into the back line, but Jose with a great ulti. Going to go godlike and take out Revenge. Raze will be slayed by Tomo. Xerxes trying to get a couple resets, but Palafox popping off in the middle of the fight. He gets one. That's going to be yet another ace as Palafox finds himself the triple kill, and FlyQuest will barrel down mid to finish off the game.
This one was all about Palafox and Jose Diodo, the dynamic mid-jungle duo here, crushing through Immortals today with the Yone and the Diana.
Feeling good, looking good. Definitely what we wanted to see since the change in mid-jungle. We asked, what can this duo deliver? And this is the game they give us to keep the FlyQuest 8th place dream alive.
And that was a big win for them today. They are now one game up on Golden Guardians, who did lose earlier. So now, you know, Golden Guardians are no longer in control of their fate. You know, they have got to hope that they win tomorrow and FlyQuest loses tomorrow. Such a big win for FlyQuest. They do have CLG tomorrow, I believe, so on paper they should be favored. And if they can get that win, Golden Guardians, you know, does not make playoffs, which would be a big disappointment for them. They have gotten a lot better, but FlyQuest has gotten, you know, quite a bit better towards the later end of the split as well, and are looking to try to cash in on that playoff spot.
Yeah, part of me wonders, like, how many different looks do we have from FlyQuest? So at least of this one, as we watch the last fight, Palafox, the ending of this fight just was so sick.
I mean, he's just so ridiculously strong at this point in the game. You know, getting the damage down on Insanity through the Shroud. Then the ulti comes through. Insanity does flash out of it, but it basically delivered him back in onto Destiny, hitting Qs on multiple members. Just ridiculously strong. Late game on the Yone, you have 100% crit, you have tremendous amounts of AD, and he was really making it work. I think start to finish, he played this game incredibly well. It was great usage of the E for actually chipping away at these towers, helping to get those early tower plates, put himself in the advantage, and he was able to execute on that both in the split push and in the team fight.
Yeah, looking so good there. With all that, after the break, Tigris is going to be chatting with Jose Diodo in our Verizon post-game interview. We'll see you there.
Welcome back to the LCS. We've got another Verizon post-game interview. We've got FlyQuest Jose Deoro here on the line. Welcome. It has been a bit since we've gotten to hear your voice on the LCS broadcast.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long. We've missed like some games throughout like my last games were like 11 defeats in a row. So now we win. So it's actually really good to be back. I think that I needed this break in academy, as you can say, because it made me improve my worst points. And I think like as I'm playing like with more confidence throughout the weeks, I think like I'm really doing better than last days. So I think the break was really good for me.
That confidence showing up in full force in the match that you just completed. I mean, we heard about the fact that you and Palafox were doing very well in Academy, but I want to know specifically from you, what was it about the two of y'all's play that made FlyQuest decide to bring you into the LCS for the final week of the regular season to try and snag a place in playoffs?
I think how we play as a duo is not like, more like we are better mechanicals, as you can say, like, and we like to flip like most of the fights because we think that we can do really good. And in 2v2s in mid lane, we kind of like do really good at some points. And also when it's like map control timers, we are especially good at it. Right, we are getting better with each week. Like our biggest like weakness will be like sometimes we are kind of impatient in the map, but I think that's like really easy to solve. Like it's only about comms. So I think that will be it.
And it's something that you have to consider when looking at the team as a whole. I'm sure all 10 of you as players are very familiar with each other, but it's still a whole different vibe when you switch part of the roster. I know that Diamond and Kumo do a lot of the shot calling currently. So what is it like for you slotting into that and the dynamic that they've been developing over the past few weeks?
Yeah, I think the biggest difference throughout this roster is like Dreams and Johnson are not like shot callers, or they don't tend to talk too much about objectives, which Diamond and Kumo tend to talk a lot. So at that sense, I tend to not talk too much in the mid game. I let them do what they need to do and let them like progress the game by themselves. In academy when I was playing, I was the caller. So I'm trying to adapt my playstyle, like not talking too much, only in fights, like saying this guy is a flash or whatever, and just play my game more like what they want to do, more like me saying what we need to do in difference of academy.
Yeah, and major props to you for changing your style here in these last few games of the regular season. You're facing off against CLG next, and it's kind of the last opportunity for FlyQuest to hold your fate in your own hands to get that victory, to try and snag that spot. What are your expectations for that match?
Sure. I mean, we firstly depend on what is the result of GGS against Immortals. I think if they lose, like we are in playoff already, but that would be like kind of sad. Like it would be better if we snack it up by ourselves, like beating off CLG. I think that will be the best one. Also, even if we win yesterday, I think it was good, like to win in playoff yesterday. But even if it is like this, I think it's good to have it for our own. I would be like kind of sad if they lose tomorrow, but I would rather get the point ourselves more than like making them lose.
To let those good feelings flow for you and the rest of the team. It's great to hear your voice again, Jose Deoro. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
We've got one more game to go here on the LCS. TSM will be taking on CLG. We'll see you on the other side of this break for the continuation of our action today.